Okay, I think we're going to get started. My name is Dylan. I'm with the Metro Tacoma Fencing Club. There are quite a few fencing clubs here in Washington, so if you have questions or want to know if something's in your area, let us know. Today, a couple of things. They are filming, so no flash photography, please, but you can take pictures. And what was the other thing? Oh, please turn your cell phones off. Although, if it's for me, let me know. My kids are at home. So we're going to talk about fencing today, the illustrious sport of fencing. We are going to talk a little bit about how fencing came to be, where it came from, how it developed into a modern Olympic sport, and then we're going to do some fencing for you, and we're going to answer any questions that you have. So just to get started, who here has ever fenced before? All right. Now, who here has ever sword fought before? Okay, more hands. Who here has ever picked up a stick and hit somebody with it? All right. That's exactly the type of people we don't want. Fencing is definitely a sport now. It is not as realistic as we would want it to be in some cases. And in other cases, it's not realistic at all, and we love that. The first thing we're going to talk about is the main rule of fencing. And I think I put my gear too far away for one moment. Okay, this is the audience participation part. The first rule of fencing is always wear a mask. Okay, so we're going to say it together. 1, 2, 3. Always wear a mask. Thank you very much for your participation in this public service announcement. Always wear a mask. All right, now that we got the safety stuff out of the way, a long time ago, people like to kill each other. And that has not stopped. Violence is bad. But people like to practice killing as well. And they got really tired of dying during practice. So they invented a weapon called the foil. This is a foil. A foil is designed to practice the deadly hit. Okay, so you have a target area that you want to hit, the torso, the body. So the legs and the arms, and for some reason the head, were not considered vital organs back then. So with the foil, you are fencing, you're sword fighting, and you're practicing that deadly hit. So you want to get them in the chest or the back. What's the first rule of fencing again? Always wear a mask. Very nice. All right, so let's go over it again. People are tired of dying. They decide to practice fencing, the sort of foil. All right. So the foil was for the, what parts of the body? Torso. Excellent. So the other part of foil is you wanted to kill the person. So you had to stab them. We're not talking any flesh wounds here. We're talking no slashes, stabbing. So you have to hit with the tip. If you hit with the side of the blade, no point. Okay, so was this a stabbing weapon? Yes, excellent. So what was it called again? Foil. You guys are fast learners. I'm impressed. So we have the foil. Now, as sword fighting and dueling progressed, people got tired of dying even when they were fighting. So they started sword fighting to first blood, dueling to first blood, right? So let's look at this foil. If I'm sword fighting with all of you, can you hit me in the pinky? Will it bleed? Have you won? Yes. And is that a vital organ? No. Well, my pinky is. I don't know about you guys. So they began to have a new weapon called an epee. Who likes crossword puzzles? All right, you knew what an epee was, didn't you? Uh-huh. For those of you who don't know what a crossword puzzle is, get off the internet. Okay, so the epee is invented, and the epee is to practice sword fighting or dueling to first blood. So where's the target area going to be? Everywhere. If I can hit you in the foot, I win. If I can hit your pinky, I win. If I can hit you in the head when you're wearing a mask, I win. So it became a game of who could hit and get a wound on their opponent. Now, you can go through history and we can get into the fine details about different types of sword play. But remember, this is not realistic. This is an epee. Let's say it again. Epee. All right. So with the epee, you'll see that it's actually the same length. But the bell guard is bigger. Why is the bell guard bigger? Protect that pinky. See, they're smart. All right. So with the bell guard and the hitting, can you slash the person or stab the person? Let's have some guesses. Stabbing. It's still a stabbing weapon. You have to hit them with the tip to get a point. So, what was the first weapon? You guys are too fast. And what was the second one? All right. So, as dueling progressed and fighting progressed, this little thing called a gun was invented. And guns made swords kind of old-fashioned. I agree. So what happened then is you get these long lines of infantrymen, right? And they'd have their big muskets, and they'd fire all their shots all at the same time. And then they'd all load their muskets all at the same time. And then they'd all fire them again at the same time. So that's when the cavalry would come in with their horses that go really fast. And while the infantry is reloading, they'd kill as many of them as they could, and then they'd ride away. So depending on which side you're on, the cavalry coming, not always good. But when you're on a horse, your sword fighting style changes. Because what's the most valuable thing that your opponent has when you're sword fighting? The head. That's too practical. It's the horse. You want a trained war horse. So the target area is from the waist up. Suddenly the head is vital. The arms are important. The chest and the back are important. But the legs are not a target area. And this is for the saber. Now the saber is a slashing weapon because not only are you trying to slash your opponent and knock them off their horse and get their horse, but you're also going for those guys down on the ground who are reloading their muskets. And so you need a bell guard that goes around your hand for when you're coming down, it'll protect it. So let's go over the three weapons again. What's the middle one? Epee! You guys can see this, right? All right. And this one? And this one? Epee! I tricked you, didn't I? And this one? All right, so who's ready to see some fencing? All right, before we do that, I need to get dressed. You guys are supposed to cheer. You don't want to... No. Putting it on. So we're going to talk about some of the safety equipment besides the mask that you use. The first thing is called a plastron. Plastron, also known as an underarm protector. So I'm going to put it on real quickly. Thank you. So this is the plastron or the underarm protector, and the key thing here is that the plastron or underarm protector, the seams do not line up with the seam of my fencing jacket. So if for some reason a blade were to get through the seams on my jacket, I'd still have an underarm protector to keep it from going into me. Now, how often does that happen? Every Thursday. I don't know where you fence, I'm sorry. I've been fencing for 26 years, and I have never had a blade go through a jacket. The key there is that I usually fence with people who have some restraint, because this is, again, a sport. I'm not getting a stab or a kill or a skewer. I'm getting a touch. Isn't it? Yes. That's very nice, isn't it? I'm going to get a touch. Not barbaric enough. Oh, you should hear people's. Anyway, so you have the underarm protector, and then you're going to have, as soon as I tie it on. Sorry. Your jacket. And it looks like a straight jacket. And let me explain why in just one moment. Have you ever felt this much anticipation to see someone get dressed? All right, so I have my jacket on. My jacket. And I have my knickers on. And you'll notice I have this wonderful little strap. It's not a G-string. It is. It's to keep my jacket from going up and exposing right there. So the knickers go up. You always want to have things overlap. The next thing you have is a glove, and it's for your weapon hand. So it's going to go over your hand. Imagine that. Did everybody hear that? Did everybody hear the Velcro? All right. So the reason it has Velcro is because, again, it's going over the jacket so that a blade won't go up the sleeve. See? Impenetrable. So then I'm going to put on my mask, because what's the first rule of fencing? Excellent. Okay, here's my mask. Can you still hear me? All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about, depending on the time, is when you're fencing, the key here is balance. So when you've got your opponent and you're going back and forth, you're going to be fencing on the fencing strip, which is 14 meters long and 2 meters wide. You're not going to turn around because does your mask have anything covering the back of your head? No. That's just a strap. It doesn't provide any protection. It just keeps it from wobbling. So the other part of it is that when you are fencing, you're going to try and stay level because, and if I can get Jacob up here, grab your foil and your mask, my friend. This is Jacob. Everybody give him a big round of applause. So Jacob is ready to fence foil. You'll notice that he has a lame on, which is the part that I haven't put on yet. And his lame is the target area for what weapon? Foil, right? Because we're going for the vital organs. If I hit him in the arm, is that a point? If I hit him in the leg, is that a point? No. If I hit him in the head, is that a point? No, because it's not vital. He's a teenager. Oh, sorry. Oh, and he will be wearing a mask. Okay. Oh, yes. So you have a lame also on the neck, because what they found is shorter people tended to use their masks to cover their target area. So they made that part of the target area because it was still part of your chest and still part of your vital organs. So he's going, I forgot one thing, and that is my body cord. So who here has seen fencing before? Okay, did anybody see the Olympics this past one? All right. Now they're all wireless, but us po folk, we have wires that connect to these reels. They're nice and sprung so that we'll be able to keep that wire from getting in the way. And so what happens is we have a button on the tip of the foil. Would you put your mask on? And when I stab him in the lame, it connects a circuit and says, I hit it on target and got the point. If I hit him off target, the button gets depressed, but it doesn't connect the circuit. And so it says off target, no point. Are you guys ready for some fencing? All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm also from Metro Fencing Club, and I'm going to hopefully keep the party started, and we're going to have this side of the room cheer when he gets a point, and this side of the room cheer when he gets the point, all right? And before they start, we'll also show you guys what it actually means when he was talking about on target and off target on our little electric box right here. And I'll turn that off because they're not actually hooked up, and that's why it's making that awesome noise. So who's having fun today? Yeah? Awesome. Who misses arrow foot, or who didn't? Never mind, I'm sorry.
are getting dressed.
Yeah. The flashing speed will... I don't have any ones, or I'd tell him to take it off. He wants to buy more things. He'd take the money. And also, he didn't quite go over this, but the reason why they were wearing white was before they introduced electric fencing, the tips actually had red on the ends, and when you touched a person, it showed a red dot on the white. And that's how you could tell if they touched on target or off target. And the problem they rose into that was people would wax their torsos so the red wouldn't stick, and that's, yeah. You could cheat in any sport. All right, and so once this gets started, I'll actually stand out of the way and hopefully not be in anybody's line of sight. All right, let me turn this on. So they're going to do a test, and if we'll look at the box, the colored lights, red and green, will come on. And Dylan, if you'll hit off target real quick. Yellow will come on for off target. Mother of pearl. It's yellow in this one. It showed green. Yeah, we're going to, hold on one sec. Yeah, so the lights will light up on the right side. So I guess you were right. It was crisscross.
Are there any questions so far?
Yes. It's fun. I'm left-handed. So if you look, if they get into on guard real quick with their masks on, they actually have opposite arms face each other. So one person has an arm on this side and the other person has an arm on that side. Now, if you're fencing a left-handed fencer, both arms are on one side, which makes it more fun for the left-handed fencer, not the right-hand fencer. More difficult for them. All right.
Okay, I can tell you what the two most popular phrases are in a beginning fencing class. The first one is, I'm not really left-handed. And the second one is it's just a flesh wound.
All right, so they are saluting to show respect for each other. So remember, when this side touches, we're going to hear a cheer from this side, and when he touches, we're going to hear from a cheer on that side. So on guard, ready, fence. Ooh, halt. That was this side. Let me hear a cheer from this side. Woo! All right. So on guard, ready, fence. Halt. That was this side. Woo! All right. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. Ooh. Oh. That was attack, parry, repost, off target this side. On guard, halt.
So if it was off target, is that a point?
No.
Your leg's not vital.
On guard, well, at least for him. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. All right, let's hear it from this side. Woo! All right. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. Oh, I'm going to actually, okay, woo! All right, so one thing I don't know if Dylan went over is right of way, and I'm going to go over that real quick. What that means is you saw how both lights went off, right? But if you're fencing with foil and you're hitting a vital organ, you are not going to want to die when your opponent dies. Is that correct? You want to win. You want to stay alive. So with right of way, it means if somebody's coming at you and they're going to stab you, you just don't go ugh, and stab them too, because then you're both dead, right? So he's going to parry, then repost, right? Knock the blade out of the way so that way he doesn't die, only his opponent does. All right, so that's with saber and with foil. Epee, since it's the first blood, anything goes. Everybody gets it. So let's do a couple more points and we'll switch to another weapon. So on guard, ready, fence. Halt. Very nice on this side. Woo! All right, on guard, ready, fence. Halt. Very nice on this side again. Woo! All right, one more, and then we'll switch. All right, on guard, ready, fence. Halt. That was off target. Does it count? No. All right, on guard, ready, fence. Halt. Ooh, that was his point. Woo! All right, so let's get another round of applause for Dylan and his opponent. Awesome. All right, so since epee is the entire body, I'm going to plug this off, so turn this off. All right. They don't get a silver lame. They don't get a fancy, flashy thing. What they get is they get a weapon that actually does not register on metal. What's the way they can make sure that when they hit the mask, or I'm sorry, when they hit each other, it goes off. Because like Dylan said earlier, your feet count, your hands count, your head counts, anything on the body counts. The only thing that doesn't count is the floor, right? Here, I'm going to hand it over to Dylan.
So are there any questions so far? Yes? How many points do you need to win? 1. No, the question was how many points do you need to win, and it depends on the bout. When you go to initial tournament, you fence a 5-point bout. That's a fencing bout. And when you go into the direct eliminations, it's a 15-point bout. And you have 3 minutes of fencing time. So when the director said, or the referee said, ready, fence, that's when the clock starts. As soon as somebody gets a light to go off, the clock stops. And then, so that 3 minutes actually goes faster than you think. Any other questions? No, those are cameras. Yes? I didn't. Well, we're going to have fun, and so are you. Okay, any other questions before we get started with epee? Sorry, not today. But come to any of the fencing clubs in Washington or wherever you live, and you're welcome to try. So we've got Crystal over here, so are you guys ready to cheer? And we have Donald over here. Are you ready to cheer? Okay, Crystal again. Donald again. All right. Oh. Will you test your weapons, please? That's to make sure they don't hit the weapon and get a point. So they're saluting each other because they're nice. And it's the rules. Ready? Fence. Halt. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. Ready, fence. Halt. Okay, we're going to try this again. Donald's side. Okay, now Crystal's side for encouragement. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. Okay, both lights went off. You guys are confused. Do we cheer or not? Okay, remember, with epee, E-P-E-E, there is no right-of-way. So if they both get a point within 1/25th of a second, they both get a point. Does anybody remember what the score is? 3-2. Thank you. For which side? For Donald. All right. On guard. Ready? Fence. Halt. Okay, we're going to go for 2 more points. Yeah, come on up, Crystal. Ready? Fence. Aw is not a cheer. Okay, so where that one, his first attack didn't land. He was short, right? Because you guys all saw it, just like me. So he attacks, and nothing happens, and then she goes, oh, he failed, I'm going to attack him next. And he kept his arm out there, and she ran onto it. So first blood kind of hurts, doesn't it? All right, last point. Here we go. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. All right, so that's epee fencing. Can we give a big round of applause for our fencers today? Are there any more questions about epee? Question in the back. The question was, when people learn fencing, do they learn one style or go through all of them? They usually learn one style to start with, to learn the basic footwork and to learn the basic blade work, and then they decide what weapon. Most people traditionally started with foil, but more and more people are starting with epee and then deciding if they want to go to another weapon. Other people just want to go for saber, and you'll see why in just a minute. No, it's not. Nothing. I did not say not that. That's right. So the fun thing about fencing is that you can do all three weapons. I fence foil and I fence epee, and I own a saber for my friends who want to fence saber. And people tend to get into a habit of which one they like the most because there's some differences. Again, the fundamentals are learning the footwork, learning when to lunge, learning how to extend the arm. Okay, you guys want to see? I'll give you a quick lesson while they're suiting up. You want to see an attack in fencing? Okay, can everyone see me okay? All right, here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to attack. Okay, let me show you again. Attack. You would be amazed at how long it took me to learn that. Okay, the key there is that you don't move your shoulder. Because if you have a foil or an epee or a saber that goes out another 36 inches, if I move my shoulder up an inch, that moves my hand up 4 inches, that moves my tip up another 6 to 8 inches, and suddenly I'm going over my opponent. So you want to try and stay as stable as possible for that extension of your arm so that you'll go exactly where you want the tip to go. So the other thing is you got this big black ball on your head, right? And if you see it, well, I won't show it. It looks kind of silly. But if you see someone coming at you like this, you're going to know exactly how far away they are. But if they're floating, you aren't quite sure how far away they are. Objects in the mirror do appear closer than reality. So, the key here is learning those basics and then using them in any weapon and fine-tuning from there. Any other questions before we get started with saber? Yes?
Yeah, I've been interested in fencing for a while, but I'm a rather portly individual. Is there anything I should be aware of before I actually jump into it?
Make sure you get the right size jacket. His question is, he's a buff, large-statured man, and he wants to make portly. Portly is fine. All right. So the question is, what should he be aware of when he's starting? Actually, anyone can fence. They have wheelchair fencing. They have lots of different types of fencing, and so short, tall, there are tactics for handling what is a benefit to you and what may be having more target area, for example. You got to learn how to really parry riposte well. Being short, you got to learn how to get in quick. Being tall, you got to learn how to keep that opponent far away so you can use your length, your height on them. So every body style works for fencing. Another question. The wire is to connect the circuit from the tip of the foil where the button is, down your body cord goes down your sleeve, connects to the reels, which goes to this wonderful box. And then you know if you got it, it's a lot easier to do it that way. Any other questions from over here? Yes. Yes. To modern competitive fencing? It would not be that hard because your sense of distance and timing has already... the question was, she already does Renaissance-style fencing or sword fighting, And the question is, making a switch to the competitive sport, how difficult would that be? I don't think it would be very difficult because you already have that sense of timing and distance. Then it would just be a matter of learning proper footwork so that you don't break the rules for the modern sport that you would normally break in realistic sword fighting.
The hardest thing for me is to actually fence right, not switch left, but not turning. You can't just walk forward like this. You know, you got to keep that one forward.
Yeah, in modern fencing, your hips are not allowed to pass each other. That's against the rules because that then exposes the back of your head. And so that's the main rule, and so that's one of the main differences. Are we ready? All right. Any other questions?
Which one's the best one?
How are we doing?
And saber's actually the one that makes you put the most on as well.
Yes. So you notice the lame. Why is the lame covering the arms and the chest and the back? The legs are not important. Exactly. They're not vital. So what we have here is the target area. The mask also conducts just like the lame for foil. So again, the target area is from the waist up as if you were sword fighting on horseback, which is what it was originally designed to practice.
And for the lefty question, I'm also fencing left right now. If you,
Oh. Only one light went off. There we go. Okay. So we have a lefty and a righty. Who's cheering for Donald? And who's cheering for Lauren? All right. Fencers on guard. Ready? Fence. Halt. Okay, that was a little delayed. It is exciting, though. I completely understand. All right, on guard. Both of you take a step forward, please. Ready? Fence. Okay. What happened? Did she attack? Yes. Did she hit? No. That's when the O's okay. Did he attack? Did he counterattack? Yes. Did it land? Yes. So in right-of-way, that anti-suicide rule, she started the attack. Should he have defended himself? Yes. If she had landed her attack, she would have gotten the point, even if he hit. But because she missed, you then look at him and say, did his counterattack land? And it did, so he got the point. On guard. Ready? Fence. Halt. On guard, ready, fence. Halt. Okay, another confused cheer. So we had an attack from which side? This side. Was there a parry? No. Oh, it looked like there was a parry, but she's saying no. So in a competition, the director would decide, but since I was actually looking at my toes, I don't know. So, all right, on guard. Ready? Fence. Halt. Okay, this time he attacked and she para-posted. Ready? Fence. Halt. Okay, this is the wonderful thing a director can do. Simultaneous, no point, because there's no right of way. Fencers ready, on guard. Oh. I think she's stalling. Ready? Fence. Halt. Oh, there's confusion again. All right, don't you love right of way? It makes it so not straightforward. So what happened was we had an attack from this side. And it kind of waved around because he missed. And then we had an attack from this side, and it hit, and then we had some blade contact. And then he hit. So this is the point. All right. Are there any questions about saber? Any answers? All right. On guard. Ready? Fence. Halt. That one's really easy because only one light went off. And I was looking at my toes again. Ready? Fence. Halt. Yes. So we had I forgot, sorry. All right. So, with 26 years of experience, you too cannot know what's going on. Okay, any questions about saber? Okay, a question in the back. Okay, excellent. The question was, he'd like to hear a little bit about the method of parrying. The key to a good parry is that it's as small as possible, because it's not like Star Wars. You don't want to parry for yourself and your friend and your neighbor. You want to be as small as possible to deflect it so it'll just go past you and then go. And because it's a sport, you really don't care if they hit you if you got that parry. Now in saber, because you're going with slashes, you'll find that the parries are very perpendicular. If they were doing foil, let's see a foil example where they're going straight, you'll see they're much smaller, right? Because do you care about the arms? No. In fact, if you guys want to, when you go home, go find a wall. Go stand in front of it like this and bring your hand over here. That's as far as you need to go to defend yourself. Then you can stand with your back to the wall. That's as far as you need to go to defend yourself. And then you would riposte from there. And it would just be the angle of the blade that would change depending on if you're fencing foil, epee, or saber. Great question. Any other questions? Yes? You can learn to fence in a lot of places in Western Washington. I recommend Metro Tacoma Fencing in Tacoma, of all places. There are also community rec classes in Olympia at the Evergreen State College. Here in Seattle, there is Sol Oriel. I don't know the address. I know where it is. So it's by the Space Needle. In Bellevue, there's Rain City. And there's a couple of other ones. If you go to usfencing.org and go to Washington State, it'll list all the clubs in the area. Any other questions? Which do you prefer?
I love
Saber.
I really suck at foil.
He's that big.
I fence foil mainly, but I will tell you, when I was a teenager, I was pure foil. And I fenced in Holland, and my team there had 5 guys who took turns going to the Olympics, and they fenced epee, and they were the nicest guys in the world. And they would go in this round robin, and we'd all get a turn to fence. And I'd get up there with my foil stuff, and one of them would put on their foil stuff, beat me. Then they'd put their epee stuff back on, have these amazing Olympic-level fencing, bouts. And then I'd come up in the rotation, that they'd put their foil stuff on, they'd beat me. I'd go back out of rotation. Then they'd put their epee stuff on, have amazing epee bouts. Then I'd come up in the rotation. You get how it goes. I kick myself for not trying epee when I was fencing those guys. And so my recommendation is to try as many things as you can to see what you like. But definitely there are things that people like about the different sports or different weapons because they're all fun. Yes. Lauren does all 3. She just likes saber. I do all 3, but I like foil. Donald does 2.5, and he likes epee. Are there any?
You've done Zumba. How many of you have been in a sauna? How many have you done Zumba in a sauna? Saber.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
Was there anything that you found unrealistic about Jean-Luc Picard fencing?
I don't think Jean-Luc Picard can do anything wrong. One of the things to look at when you watch sword fighting in the movies or on TV, and I'm sorry we didn't get to this, we've run out of time, but notice where their blades cross. Their blades almost never cross right in front of each other unless they're eye to eye, right? It's usually up here or down at their knees. And that's because, like the parries we talked about, if they mess up, you know, Antonio Banderas doesn't want a foil or a sword going through his heart. He wants it to go past him. So you'll see the parries are very, very big in stage fighting, in movies and TV. And the closer they get to the body when their blades are crossing, the more realistic it is. Did that answer your question? Well, no, but it answered a question. Another question. Is there a large initial investment? Most beginning classes will have equipment for you to use. Once you've worn it a few times, you'll want to get your own. But you can get a basic starter set with a foil, a mask, and a jacket and a glove for like $100, $120. That's just your basic dry, none of the electric equipment. And then it goes from there. Any other questions in our last minute or so? Oh, yes. How much do we have to practice? How much do we have to practice? It really is up to you and what you're. When I was at the peak of fencing, for me, I was fencing 5 days a week for 4 to 5 hours, plus tournaments on the weekends. And now I teach a class every Wednesday and every other Saturday. So I have kids. What can I say?
I fence Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday morning. I don't fence Friday because the club's closed. I don't fence Sunday unless it's a tournament because the club's closed. They don't allow adults to fence on Mondays.
Yes. One last question. All right. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you for coming to our demonstration. And if you do have any other questions, let us know and enjoy the next panel, which I believe is the doctor. Very nice.